I'm just going to start off with a couple questions. By show of hands, how many of you guys like football? Okay. Now, what if I would tell you that football is one of the reasons why the school system is failing? You probably would like it. But my speech is not about to make you dislike football. My speech will be about why the schools are failing. And I'm mostly going to focus on schools in California and between the grades between kindergarten and 12th grade. Now, let me give you a different scenario. Today, most kids can read or write or do basic math skills. But if a student can read a defense or can read a playbook, then he'll just be just fine. And his education level will have to wait and sit in the stands in the meantime. Now, due to the economic crisis across the U.S., the employment rate has risen very high. But by a surprise, it's after that my thoughts. By surprise, the jobs in demand is a football coach. Today, a football coach can make up to $100,000 per year, while a teacher with 10 years experience and a master's degree in math or science can roughly make up to $50,000. You would ask, why is that? Well, today's schools are trying to focus more on the athletics. By building a strong football program, it will bring them revenue and it will increase enrollment rates. Now, because they're trying to build a strong football program, that means one of their academic problems has to suffer. Which means their academics level has to drop. To save a few bucks, school has to hire less experienced teachers, which means will cost them less, and they have to hire less qualified substitute teachers. Now, most of these substitute teachers, they won't last very long because they're moving on in and out from campus. So they don't really care whether students will learn or not. So I'm going to read you a quote from a student. We knew the teachers weren't going to stay long, so why should we pay attention? Another student said, we do the same lesson over and over again. I feel like I'm not learning anything. Now, I just cover athletics and academics, and as you can see, there's a big discrepancy between them. Now, on to my next point is building and playground safety. Today, most of our school buildings are over 50 years old, which means there's leaks in the roofs, there's rusted pipes, they're clogged up. Classrooms are not, they don't have the proper materials to teach students. So, but then you might ask, does the quality of buildings affect how children learn? Of course it does. Studies by the 21st Century School Fund shows achievements and enrollment play a role. Depressing surroundings lower student and teacher confidence. Now, by upgrading the buildings, you will reduce noise and improve health and learning. Now I'm going to read you a quote from President Obama. How can we expect our kids to do their best in places that we are literally falling apart? Now, I'm going to give you another short reason. This involves building, but I'm not going to go in depth because that's a whole different topic. But I'm just going to give you a statistic. According to the National Education Association, 160 students skip classes each day out of fear of physical harm. It means that their confidence drops and their quality of work drops as well. In the simpler form, If a student is not in class, he can't learn the material. Now, the last topic I'm going to cover is balancing the budget. Due to the economic crisis across the U.S., schools were one of the institutions that were affected the most. Programs had to be cut and teachers had to be laid off. Now, I'll give you an example. 3 years ago, there were over 350 elementary school instructors teaching dance, music, theater, and visual arts. Now, a little bit over 200 instructors are left, and I have been told that they won't be back next year, or at least as art teachers. Now, this is an unfortunate situation because you might ask, well, it's just an art class, but it's not. Art classes help students in many ways. Helps with critical thinking, creativity, and builds empathy in children. Now I'm going to give you a scenario. There's a school teacher, Mr. Brian Higa, at the Belmont High School in Los Angeles. He's a music instructor. He's taught there for 20 years, and he has won trophies and awards, but now his program has to be terminated due because of budget cuts. Now I'm going to give you a quote from a student. Well, basically, one student moved from China to the U.S., and she said that she found a family once. She was out of place, but she found a family in the music program. And now because of that, because of the budget cuts, now everything has to be cut. Now just to finish, in conclusion, I feel the school system is failing and something needs to be done before the system will have to shut down completely.
All right, Christian, I think that you started off a little bit shaky. It's not clear what your proposition is. You kind of introduce it as a question. You ask, why are these kinds of things happening, or what is the relationship between football and these program cuts? And you need to make it as a declarative statement. You do provide some interesting information about the football coach's salary and what the salaries of other teachers might be, but there's not a source citation on that. I don't doubt that it's probably true, but you want to make sure that you give us a source citation on that. There's no preview of what the structure is going to be, so I'm not sure how it's all going to develop. In the body of the speech, I hear you sometimes reference a label, like you've got athletics, academics, buildings, balancing the budget, art classes. So I think that that's supposed to be the structure of your speech, but those should all have declarative sentences with them. So it should be something like, athletics programs are expanding, academic programs are reducing, buildings have failed to keep up with their needs, budgets are out of balance. Something like that, so that we know what inference you're making on each of those points. And I don't think that you did a very good job kind of organizing it. I can see that there's a structure there, but as a listener, it's hard to listen to and figure out what the point is. It really sounds like the first half of the speech is suggesting that athletics, in particular football, is causing all of these cuts. But I didn't really hear any proof on that except for the football coach's salary. Well, the football coach's salary might be double what one other teacher's salary is. If they're cutting 350 students, that's a hell of a lot of football coaches they must be hiring. Where's the proof that that's going on? It just seems to me like I think you've made a big inferential leap there that needs more proof on it. That the schools are in bad shape, I think you've got some good information on that. I thought you got better and better as the speech went on in citing information and providing us with examples. Some of the examples are anonymous students, and they're okay as illustrations of the point. I thought that you were a little bit better on some of the other points. I don't know why you have the bullying thing in there. It just seems to me like that's a non sequitur. It doesn't really affect any of the argument that you're making, so you want to take that out. Delivery is pretty solid. I know that you got lost at one point and maybe you felt a little nervous, but you did a good job talking to the audience for the most part, and everything was clear in your voice, and I thought that you finished off pretty well. All right, thank you.